Hi everyone, I really hope you're doing great. I'm with Alex. How are you?
Very good.
Yeah? Nice.
Take five for me. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
Fifth one is always, it's always the one.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always the
exactly.
one. It's good to see you. It's been a little while.
Yeah. I'm very happy. It's a wonderful season. It's springtime here on the mountain. It's just like it's incredibly alive. So it's very inspiring. So I'm very happy to be with you guys because the whole band joined me home and to share those moments with you. So I'm very happy.
Which is something I wanted to obviously talk about because being here, the whole band at your place in the mountains, it's like your kind of refuge, your own like little world. And now we're about to share and invite everybody here, which was quite of kind of amazing in a way, knowing how you like to be in your own like in personal space and stuff.
Yeah, it's my place. It's for a long time it's been very difficult for me because even though I had the amazing privilege to travel a lot, I never had that real sensation of being home quite much. Even though being with my friends and I've been living with a community for a long time, as you know, and so through people you have that sense of like what home means. But I never had like any physical place where I can say, well, this is my place or this is home for me. And so when I found this place, I knew right away that it was really that it was a very significant place, that it would be a very significant place for me. So, and ever since it's been truly home. So even all the time when I'm going back to Japan or now Tanger, so there's a roots are very deep, but it's a different kind of sensation than saying like when you're going, let's say when you're going on tour and we're all splitting and going back to our different places, and so I finally have a place where I can say, well, I know where I'm going, rather than before I was only like joining someone else's party in a way, and which was great for a time. But I think that ever since I found this place, I have a better understanding of what it means to be home, and in the meantime, what it means to be at peace as well. So because you can just like be here and close everything, the whole world ain't closing on you. You're just in a place where you can bloom through your own rhythm in a way.
Amazing. Yeah, and all the fact that all the bands here, all those wires, all the noise, doesn't it change that whole vibe a little bit, or?
It changes obviously, but it's fun. It's good. It's positive, and I needed that too because I think that the flip coin of having a place like I have now, it's very easy to isolate yourself, and I think that everybody probably like felt. Now everybody understood that meaning, or at least the feeling, and I think it's the danger of being alone all the time. I think it could be to isolate yourself, not from the world, but from feelings that usually are meant to be shared, and from communion that are very important to me to have with others. So it's been great. It's been very awesome just to have like loud music in the house. It's good just to be able to to catch up with people as well, because we all grew up together in so many ways, but I think that we kind of grew apart as well by being all the time together. Absolutely. And sometimes we're kind of losing that perspective of being individuals in the midst of a group. And when we're having a bit of a time apart, then you can rekindle with people. And then the group obviously the synergy of a group, of a band, friends and family, whatever you want to call it, community, then that will obviously it will get back naturally. But that sensation of like closeness with people, it needs to be nurtured and by being an individual towards another. So that's why it's fun, because here we're having the opportunity to catch up and talk, and to go, sometimes to go back in time and to talk about different things from a different perspective, different angle as well. And it tells me a lot about who we are now and what
Nice.
we can create. Because for a long time I was my identity was through the group,
Yeah.
and therefore the music we were creating all together as one. And I think that and for a while it was great, and it was very significant for me, because I was able to find a refuge in that setup. But then it's easy to hide for after a while
Sure.
in that kind of environment.
Yeah. Sure.
So now that we're individuals that are deciding to be together and become one, so then you can share different things. You can take chances that maybe before you weren't ready to take. You can talk about different subjects and topics, and it just has like a complete different identity to what, not only to what we're creating as a group, but I think that it has a complete different identity to what we can build with each other, which is great, because the main thing here is friendship.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
and yeah, there's a lot of cables.
Yeah.
If that was the question.
Yeah, that was definitely the question.
There's a lot.
Where are all this cable for? But in fact, it's great we talk about this, because I'm receiving, I don't know, a lot of messages, obviously, and the people are, since there's a lot of firsts in what's coming up.
Have you received my postcard? I'm just kidding.
I think so. Well, a lot of people did, though. Have you even talked about your finger?
Yeah.
In my last cult missive. But people, noticed all those, like the fact that, with Windows in the Sky, there was a lot of like personal introspections, all of that, and now having all the band here, bringing the whole camera crew here, and what we're gonna, what people saw was all the violence in the world, and all of this. So people were kind of asking me if there was like some kind of this shift that happened from like where we started to where we're at now today.
From the beginning of that project, you mean?
Yeah.
From solo perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that it's, I don't really see things quite the same way that I used to do before, because when you need to, starting from a band perspective, and then you're, especially as a writer, you need to understand that you're also talking for the rest of the band, that also you need to, even though we weren't like, it wasn't a collective, like, okay, let's write about something that we all agree about, but I think that it's not normal to be in a band. I already talked about it before. You need to kind of force yourself into a situation, and there's a lot of things that you need to concede maybe, or to say, well, okay, compromise in a way.
Sure.
And it's not a bad thing, because if it's all about if it's always your way, then you won't be able to grow. And I think that now in a situation where we can all contribute, and it's more open, because even though it's the same, it's essentially the same band members in a way than what we were with Your Favorite Enemies. But I think that now the biggest the most important difference is that when we're sharing and expressing things, there's no filters anymore, and from everybody. So because before, well, you're always trying to kind of, well, this is my riff, this is my type of music.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of immaturity that comes with the insecurity of being in the context of a band. But when you're like, when you're individuals coming, and then you're bringing what you have best on the table, and it doesn't matter at the end of the day if everybody likes it or not. It's just the gesture of bringing what you have best, and then we can discover things. Because sometimes you can bring something that you think is fully formed, but then you realize that through other people's addition or perspective, that then you realize that it was only maybe the primary element, but that it has yet to be formed, or it hasn't grow as it should or could. If it was only about me. So that's the big, I guess that's the big difference. And also I think I'm somewhere else as well in my life. So there's something completely different, and I don't think it's going to be like, my perspective won't change as much as it will transform. So, and that's what I like. We were talking this morning about like artists like Laurie Anderson, Lou Reed, Lee Ronaldo, and I think that's this desire, but also I think that determination, fierce determination to keep on transforming yourself as an artist, as a person. And I think that's I finally, after so long, I guess, but I'm a lot of the frustration that I felt stuck in through Your Favorite Enemies context. So now I can only be myself in that transformative form. So, and I don't have to think much about, so is it the sound of Alex Henry Foster? Is it is it the topics that I need to talk about? So it's complete freedom. And I think that it wasn't as much as the band thing that was keeping me prisoner, but I think it was my own fear of being seen for who I am, and to express myself in a way where, you know, people will actually discover who I am behind, you know, behind the character, the persona. So that's a big difference. But at the same time, I think that it's maybe the natural progression when you're just allowing yourself to be who you are, and to say, well, this is it now, and we'll see tomorrow. You know, I don't have to really worry about that anymore. So, which is great.
Absolutely, always evolving, and
but that's the transformation that I'm the most interested in. You know, that's why I'm always bringing all sorts of instruments but honestly. To be with you guys, you're when I'm bringing all those crazy ideas, and you're not only tagging along, but you're really taking that and you're going way deeper than what I initially thought it would be. So that's the great thing, because I mean, I think that people can see how not only the transformation, but I think that they can see how much of a free organism that we've become together.
Yeah, so absolutely. And that's where the question about the shift and all of that came from. And it's great that people are excited, and it's great to hear you talk like that, because they know that to be here, for the entire band to be here as well, and for you to talk about being home and all this new season in your life where you're at now. And people are just excited to know, especially with what's going on around the world, how this, how can I say, how this affects you, but to where you're at now in your life, the depth of that and the power of it should be really unique and special, because of the title, All the Violence in the World. People are like, wow, that sounds like, you know,
epic.
Very epic. But knowing you,
for the people that are a little closer to me, they know that I'm not that kind of guy.
Exactly. People, and they get to know, but they're just like, wow, they feel like it's gonna be really unique and really special. That's for sure.
But that's something because right before we left for the last tour we did with the Pineapple Thief, I had that spark that I wanted to work on. And sometimes it could be a book, could be like a play, could be, you know, something else, like maybe like a soundtrack for a movie or something like that. I'm not seeing creation like I used to do.
Okay.
You know, through Your Favorite Enemies, it was like, okay, well, this is the next record, and this is the themes, and this is how we're gonna, you know, how you maneuver in that kind of musical genre. Now it's completely different. It's just like an idea, a sensation, like maybe a spark or something that just like, well, wait a minute. It could be a word, could be like only like a sound that leads me somewhere. And I had that in mind before we left for the tour, and because violence in the world is not only about the physical world. It's about like the battle that rages within us, and illusions and broken dreams, and also in the appreciation of what we have, and all the blessings, because sometimes it's and I talk from maybe years of self-imposed distress, but I think that what's beautiful also is when you're willing to take what's beautiful, and even if it's only like a little shimmer, and to realize that it's still called light, and even though it's not like a big bonfire or something, because we're always looking for something like the big kahuna, and even when we have it, we're not able to actually maybe appreciate it, or maybe we're not ready to, or maybe we're not even able to see it for what it is. True. So sometimes even like a little glimpse of light is still light, and you can build your life around that little thing, and to find like a great deal of happiness and peace and emancipation towards that. So that was a bit of the idea at first, just like a little bit of the spark, and it keeps on growing, because I was at the end of last year, I was really like, all right, I think we're ready to make another record, and so I was like really getting prepared for that mentally and emotionally, and it's always like a long journey for me to get there. And so it takes a lot before. And it's not about the songs, or it's not about like the lyrics or the themes or whatever. It's really about to know that you're at the right place, or even though to know that you're not maybe at the right place, but you're disposed.
Exactly.
So, and sometimes it's not necessarily the same. And so that's why, and then different things happened, and I had to kind of recalibrate my heart and my emotions, and I wasn't in a bad. It's not that I wasn't in a bad situation, but emotionally in a bad place. But I wasn't at the right place, and you need to be honest, because even though I had like to call everybody off, and you have the sensation that you're leaving everybody down, and I hate that, because I had that feeling for so long with Your Favorite Enemies. And so, but slowly when everybody came in, and then sounds were coming, and slowly it just, everything came back naturally. And I realized that it wasn't about how I was feeling as much as how willing I was to suffer if I had to go there. And sometimes sufferings has a different perspective, different elements. But sometimes just like, okay, well, is it something that I want to start? What is it? So, and then everything kind of came naturally. So I don't know, maybe it was just all the noise in the cables. But yeah, everything came really naturally, and then we started to work, and because and I think it had a lot to do with conversations that take place.
Well, that's interesting.
When we're going for a walk or something. And I remember I had a conversation a few weeks ago with Ben, and he told me, he said, but what's the what keeps you for jumping into another project or just starting another project? Why do you have to wait for everything to be like aligned in your heart or emotions? And it's funny because we're working together for, like forever. We've been working together forever, and still to rediscover ourselves through all those things. I was able to receive his perspective, and he was able maybe to understand a little bit more of my of who I am in that process, because it's not about work anymore. It's not about should I release a record this year, or who's waiting for my record, or I don't operate in that realm of reality no more, and or illusion. So that's why through all those conversations that usually were taking place in a band meeting. Okay, so then it's just like it's a complete nightmare.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what was the question?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Yes, I'm happy. Okay,
Yeah, I'm happy. Yeah, great.
Nice. Well,
About all the violence in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, because it's obviously there's a lot of things going on in Ukraine and all that sort of thing, and
Of course.
You mentioned that there's going to be like this concert will be aligned with that and all of this. So it's great to hear that the whole like origins of that thing.
But we always been very, very sensitive to social justice, and sometimes you tend to forget when you're so deep into causes and to be an activist. I realize that for me, I'm not talking about anybody else, but I realized that for me, it was, you become like the poster boy of a cause, rather than remembering the fact that there's people and it's about the people, and we have like great friends in Russia and Ukraine and Poland and all that region and all over Europe. And I think that like everybody, we were shocked, but there was something that I felt like compelled to do. And then sometimes you just feel insignificant, because I'm a singer in a band. It's not like I can like move the world, but that's a lie, because it's whoever you are, as long as you're moved, as you're touched, and you want to make a difference. And for me, it started with postal cards.
Amazing.
So that was my thing, and I started to write and asking people, well, if you're sending me your address, as simple as that, and let's keep let's get back to that human.
Absolutely, that's all it takes.
Level, and then every day that was mine for the beginning of the year. That was really kind of my, how I was able to process different situations that I had to face in my life, but that grounded me in reality. So I wasn't like losing myself or drifting away from what was real. And what was real was the people that I was sending that card to, and the happiness that I was already feeling before they would receive it.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh wow, and I was trying to, this is like really old school, and this is something you receive, just like a few words about springtime.
That's amazing.
And it was so inspiring.
Yeah.
That it kind of shaped what's coming up for me.
Amazing.
And the band and the music and everything. But it all started with that sensation of having a real need and desire to connect with others.
That's very cool.
Regardless of what's going on in the world, regardless of what's going on within me. It was that profound need to feel human and to connect with someone else.
Wow.
So there was a lot of someone else's involved.
Well, that's great, man. Yeah.
Which is awesome.
It is. That's always been the heart and soul of everything, especially you and we've been doing for so long. So it's great. So guys, don't miss it. Next Saturday, from this house, this very place here, on top of the mountain. And it's going to be very, every day. I mean, Alex is very humble. He spends so many hours working on those postcards, writing it down, and
Well,
sending
it's
it
not
to you
because
guys.
it's not working.
No, it's so many hours, and what I like is this. You wake up and you hear the nature, the birds, and all of what's happening around, and then at some point the noise, and so it's kind of a, peace and freedom, and then inner battles and war kind of colliding, and then one is leaving, the other is coming, so it moves all day and all evening long. So can't wait to.
And then
share.
you're wondering why Moose is playing drums at 6 a.m.
True story.
It's like, really?
Really?
But yeah, it's great. So, and again, I'm very thankful to be able to share that moment. It wasn't something that was like scheduled or anything, and that's why it's so precious to me, because it's really what's coming instinctively, that for me at least, that means the most. So,
Amazing.
So I hope you'll be there, and if not, we'll probably have another time and wait for my postcard if you haven't received it.
Nice. So see you very soon, my friends. Thank you for watching.